I'm here at Illinois Comic-Con with Barry Lowin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty great. I've never been to Peoria, so I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, as we can tell by your table, there is a lot to do with the Mandalorian. But before we get there, how did you get your start in acting and into performing in general?
Yes, I grew up in a small town, Sulphur, Louisiana. Most people have never heard of that. Thankfully, we had an amazing gymnastics facility and really good local theater. So I grew up as a gymnast and an actor and did a lot of musical theater and performing. I was kind of just, I think, born a performer. It was just something in me. I used to make our neighborhood come together to like put on productions, all sorts of crazy things. But it's just something I've always had a passion for. And I went to college for theater and journalism. And my first job after college was to go to Tokyo Disney and perform in a show there. And that kind of just started a career of doing performing and acting and a lot of physical performance.
That's quite a start, going to Tokyo Disneyland.
Yeah, it was pretty wild to just have your first job out of college be, in another country. But it was an amazing experience.
Sure.
At the time, Tokyo Disney was one of the best jobs you could get in live theater at the time, and they even flew us their business class. Like, it was pretty nice.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And like we said, definitely a Mandalorian theme to your table. Did you grow up as a fan of Star Wars?
That's a tricky question because at first, absolutely not, because my dad would wake me up as Darth Vader, and I wasn't a morning person, and my dad always thought it was really funny to. I shared a room with my brother. I was on the bottom bunk, so he would lean over and be like, "Barry, I am your father. You must get up." So
that tortured you?
Yeah, just torture was the first part. Eventually, yes, my dad also introduced me to the films and the characters and just the whole world of Star Wars.
Right on. And so for your role, how did you prepare? Did you have to study the movements that Din made? How did you get into that role?
Yeah, so I auditioned just about probably 2 weeks after they had been filming the show.
Okay.
They realized they needed 2 Mandos, and Brendan Wayne and Lateef Crowder had already been doing some amazing work as the character. And so when I auditioned, I needed to be able to match Brendan and Lateef and the movements they had already established. And so that was the main part of my audition, was putting on the suit and making sure that I could move like they could move, and that Jon Favreau wouldn't be able to tell us apart. So.
Right on. So you were on the set in the pretty early days of Mando. Like you said, you came in a couple of weeks after they started filming. Yeah. Could you kind of feel that there was going to be a big impact that the show was going to make? Did you kind of have that feeling from the early days?
It was hard to tell because everything was so secretive. Like,
sure.
Everything was like just so top secret. And even my audition, I didn't even know what I was actually auditioning for. I was just waiting, and I'd signed a bunch of NDAs. I could have been kidnapped. I don't know.
You didn't know what you were signing.
I didn't know where I was. And eventually, one of my closest friends now, Tamara Carlson Woodard, who helped make the suit from Legacy Effects, she was like, "Well, I guess we should get you dressed." And so all of a sudden, I'm in this suit, and I just remember looking in the mirror in the suit and kind of realizing, like, "Oh, this guy looks pretty awesome."
Looks pretty cool.
So that was kind of the first moment, just seeing the how amazing the costume was. I was like, this is a big deal, but I think it probably wasn't until I started to go on set and see how just intense and beautiful and extravagant the set was. The set design is so amazing that when I saw like one of the first sets, I was like, this is unreal.
Yeah. Unreal. And how did you prepare? You talked about getting into the suit, the costume. How did you prepare to work in that suit? Was there any challenges with movement, any restriction?
Yeah, I've joked with Legacy Effects. I wish there was been some spandex somewhere in that suit.
A little more comfy.
But the suit, also to their credit, like, the suit was so perfectly made that it just gives the right amount of weight. Because Mando is like under pressure.
Right.
He's like always kind of feeling the weight of something. And so I think the suit gives just the right amount of that weight to really help you stay grounded and kind of remember that you're like carrying this burden in a way.
Yeah, you're carrying the weight literally and metaphorically.
Yeah. So the suit only enhanced, I think, the performance because it restricts you just enough, but not too much, and to just remind you of certain movement and certain things that Mando would never do. I did rip my pants a few times, so wasn't really helpful, but other than that.
So there was some seam work that had to be done.
There was a couple times where I was laying on a table just like this and someone was stitching up my pants.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, and enjoy the rest of your show.
Absolutely. This is the way.